Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to examine the domain and look at the WHOIS records and create a project with it so we can track it as information comes into the system. We're automatically alerted when something new comes in.
Yeah.
So we're going to search for toyspinners.com.
So the purpose of what we're trying to do here is projects within PassiveTotal provide a workflow capability where as we're conducting an investigation, we can add artifacts automatically to this project and keep ourselves organized. So right up top, Benjamin's ran the toy-spinners.com here, and we have a number of search results that are available to us. Now, keeping in mind, from the interface visuals and everything else, there is one visual on the top left-hand corner here where it's a little folder. So we have a little folder with a plus icon, and when we hover over that, we have the ability to add this artifact directly to a project. Now, in our case, we have two different projects that have already been configured, but depending on your account status, you may not have any projects yet. And so directly from this interface, you can actually create a new project. And we have a couple different types. We have public projects, which are available to anyone.
Right.
Anyone can see that. And as in the future, as someone's pivoting around inside the platform, they could see your public project. And then alternatively, we have the concept of private projects. Now, depending on your account status and whether or not you're an enterprise customer, you may not have, you'll have a finite number of private projects available to you, whereas the public project side, you have basically an unlimited amount.
And if you're doing an investigation and trying to keep it private, make sure you make that change. Otherwise, everyone will see the information that's in there.
Yeah. And so when it comes to projects, we have the concept of giving it a name, a description, some tags. We have the owner, which in this case would be ourselves. But there's a bottom field here that is also pretty important, and it's the concept of collaborators. When we built this workflow concept, we wanted to make sure that anyone would be able to add a collaborator to their project and their investigation. And so regardless of whether or not you have an enterprise account or that person's within your organization, you can add email addresses to collaborators as long as they're a valid RiskIQ Community Edition user. You'll be able to communicate with them.
And it's the way that you'll share with other analysts outside of your organization to share information.
Yeah, so if we wanted to, we could actually add this artifact to our project, and we're going to get a nice little notification up top that told us that we added the artifact. And what's great about this is that it just gives us some indication that the information was added. And then behind the scenes, there was some contextual data that was sent over as well.
So if you came in here, you can come into to the WHOIS information directly from here and add to a project. And here you can add as well. But if I wanted to just go directly into the project, there's a little arrow to the right. And if you click on that arrow, it actually will open the project for you automatically.
Yeah, it's a convenient way that if you're not sure whether or not you've already added an artifact to the project, it's not going to go through and duplicate it. So you can rest assured there. But if you want to just quickly understand what's in the project as of today, you can quickly pivot out to it. And so the project that we have here is this sample project where we've given it a tag. Benjamin's the owner. It's public, so anyone can see this. And what we've actually gone through and done is added a number of details from the WHOIS record where we just hovered over those items and then hit add to project. And you can see here that Benjamin's marked as the creator. We get a little bit of date information as to when it was added, and then some context here too is if we hover over this, we can see that this Hildegard Gruner name from the WHOIS record was actually added while we were viewing the toy-spinners.com domain and the WHOIS tab. So this is really helpful information, especially if you're picking up this investigation from one of your peers or someone in the organization. Having that small bit of context is extremely helpful.
And the project history is wonderful to be able to go back in and understand exactly how this investigation progressed over time.
Yeah.
What was added if something was removed. You actually see exactly who did it and when it happened. So when you work with a team, it's wonderful. So then you can see what your teammates have done and where they are in the progress of their investigation.
Yeah, it really helps to make sure that you're not duplicating efforts and that you're really transitioning some of that investigative aspect. One of the nice things that we like to point out with projects is the ability to manually add artifacts. So if you're pivoting around inside of the system, it certainly makes sense to add artifacts while you're doing your investigation. But there might be some cases where maybe you're looking at an open source intelligence report and you already have a number of indicators.
Correct.
Using the manual add artifacts menu, there's a number of different artifacts that you can add here. and you can simply paste them into the dialog. There's two artifacts that I think are worth pointing out, and both of those begin with the word keyword. And so that's keyword who is and keyword passive DNS or PDNS. So both of these keyword artifacts are essentially ways in which we could say, look for a keyword inside of any new passive DNS domain that we observe in all of the RiskIQ data set. Or look for this particular keyword in any whois record that RiskIQ processes going forward. And what I love about these keyword-based keyword artifacts is that it allows me as an analyst to put in something that I might find interesting or unique and make sure that I'm alerted to it in the future.
You can even put in your own domain to see if anybody's buying a typo squatted domain or something that's similar, perhaps.
Yeah, now it can very much quickly get to a point where it's difficult to scale. So if we're looking for the presence of the word spinner in any domain that RiskIQ observes or crawls going forward, chances are we might end up with a lot of results. But that's for us to figure out. And one of the benefits that we have here after adding that keyword is we have the ability to essentially turn on our monitoring, and then going forward, every day when we're doing our batch analysis processing, anytime we observe something new, we'll update your project, you'll have an alerts tab, and then you'll also have emails that are sent to you on a routine basis that covers what's changed for the project. So this really goes back to the concept of threat infrastructure analysis not being just a static approach, that it's dynamic.
So instead of having to run the queries every single day to see if there's something new that's appeared, if you create a project and you have the monitors on as the data comes in, that automatically flows into the project, and it's in the history and in the alerts tab.
Yeah, so not only do these projects act as a knowledge base for you and an ability to kind of share information with your team and really centralize your investigations, but they also have the ability to kind of continually inform you over a period of time. And it's not uncommon for me to even go to the projects that we have that are featured, that we've created, taking a look at them and just seeing all of the different information, all of the new alerts or changes that the infrastructure had. And for anybody who's interested in that, you can simply view the projects page, and you have the ability to see all of the public projects, both featured and non-featured. By default, we're going to show the featured ones. You have the ability to see your projects, things that just created by you, and then you have the ability to see shared projects, maybe between you and some sort of collaborator, either inside your organization or outside. And so I would strongly encourage you, if you're new to the analyst world, or even if you're new to the RiskIQ platform, to strongly encourage you to take a look at the public projects that are there. This is information and research that we collect from the open source world, where we can see all of these rich projects that have already been done by other security companies or individuals. And so if you're trying to figure out how to best start using the threat infrastructure analysis methodology, this would be the great place to do it.
And by examining the project history, you can see exactly how these analysts did their projects. So you can learn from those projects to improve your skill sets.
Yep, that's a great point.